So I'm getting the S2000 ready for the track this weekend. I'm doing a track day at the New York State safety track. And what I mean by track prep is I've replaced all the brake lines. I've removed the OEM rubber brake lines. They were the original ones with the car, so they're 15 years old. And I went with a Stop Tech front and rear stainless steel brake line kit. They are all in there. As you can see, I just got to finish tie wrapping this to the shock body. So the stainless steel lines are in, and the other thing I'm doing is replacing all the brake fluid. I bought a pretty cheap brake bleeder on eBay. It's pretty much the same thing you can buy at Harbor Freight for like $22. It's just a little vacuum pump that you hook up to your bleeder valve on your caliper and just pump it through, as opposed to having someone go in the car and pump the brakes and then crack the bleeder loose. It makes it a one-person job, so I'm going to see how great that works. I am bleeding the entire system with the RBF 600 Motul, so that should firm up the pedal quite a bit and handle all the high temps the brakes will be seeing. Now for brake pads, I had a really hard time deciding what to go with. Kind of the original rotors are still in the car, so they're 15 years old, but they're in great shape. They don't pulse or anything, and they're not below the service limit, so I'm going to run them. And originally I was looking at like Project Mu club racers and really expensive pads. Then I read a lot about them cracking the rotors very easily, and it might have been overkill for my first track day, especially at New York State safety track. I've seen videos online and they only get to about 100 miles an hour, 105, 110 maybe on the front stretch, and then, you know, it doesn't seem like a super heavy braking course. So what I ended up going with are the Hawk street race pads. Now these are a somewhat newer pad on the market. The famous pad everyone runs is the HP Plus. They have great initial bite, but they fade at higher temperatures, so these are supposed to hold up better at higher temperatures, and they also claim you can drive them on the street. The pads are literally meant to drive to the track, race all day, and then drive home. They're not really recommended for daily use though. I only plan on running them at the track. So I have just installed them, and they're on all four corners of the car. I'm going to see how they hold up. I just got to bed them in after I bleed the brakes, and I'm going to run them for a day. The only downside I heard about running these pads are that they leave a ton of brake dust, and the brake dust is somewhat corrosive. So whenever you run your car, you're going to want to clean the wheels as quick as you can after your sessions, or after the day's over, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna give these a try. I mean, I was really trying to not be cheap, but I also didn't want to spend $400 on a set of brake pads. So these are, the front and rears of these were under $200, so I'm gonna give them a try, and I think they should be pretty fine for what I'm doing. I mean, the rest of the car is stock. I mean, the one thing that's gonna limit you more than the brakes is the tires on the front, and these tires are the Toyo Proxy R1Rs, and they look new, right? But the date code on these is from 2012. The last two digits stamped in there are 12, which means these were put out of the factory in 2012, and they're 215s up front. So I've ABS'd them pretty hard during the autocrosses with the OEM pads, so I'm pretty sure that the Hawk Street Race pads with the stock brakes will have plenty of stopping power, and of course the street race pads will handle higher temperatures than the HP Plus will. And the rear tires are the same. They're in about the same shape. They look new, but these are actually worse because the date code on these is 2011, so these are actually 6 years old. They've been sitting in very cold elements in the winter, so the rubber is actually doesn't feel too soft anymore. It doesn't feel sticky at all, even when they're hot. So I've kind of been struggling with autocross with those. Like I said, these are 5 years old. So I plan to have them pretty well chewed up by the end of the track day. I'm hoping that they'll be almost gone so I can have an excuse to order new tires.